My number three is season 10, episode 6. The gang misses the boat.
Oh, yep. Great. Great
Yeah,
episode.
big
Season 10,
big fan
episode
of this
6.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love the arc. I love how they get fed up with each other, and then by the end realize how codependent they are and how much
Yeah.
they need each other. And I think oddly sweet
Yeah,
by the end of it.
yeah, it is.
But it's again they all go out on their kind of semi-solo adventures. Dee and Charlie together. A bit like the game gets analyzed, where you kind of discover a bit more about each character and who they are and what they want.
Yeah, by themselves.
Like you said, great pair. Dee and Charlie. They've got this. One I love their deaf poetry. The bars, obviously
Yeah.
super deaf,
Yeah,
completely
super
deaf
deaf,
anyway,
super
as
deaf.
it is. And then I love their like weird kind of Friends-esque kiss scene
Yeah.
where there's that like sitcom classic like oh, and then they won't, and then there's something they do it out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and like oh, and then by the end of it they're
Yeah.
like absolutely disgusting with each other
Yeah.
and never wants to mention it ever again.
It's really fun how like outside of the gang they're like quite two just like genuine friends.
Yeah,
who are, like,
they're actually
quite
just quite
functional.
friendly. Yeah, it's like you know what, Charlie, you don't have to eat the beak.
The way like the amount he like that's the crazy. He's like big no
Beak. No.
no regular
And then
chicken salad.
D is like, yes, I will have the.
Doing voices.
No, Charlie's like,
Yeah.
no accent. No accent.
I also love how like Dee's like the thing that stresses her out is like you guys put so much pressure on me to be funny all the time, and Charlie's just like
Yeah, doing. I have to say, I've got classic moments. Obviously, Mac wants to be the party boy again,
yeah
and he's got his, selling his angel dust to his lady lover, or not so much of a lover, but lady friend. I love bloody Dennis's rage when he's got his amphibious exploring vehicle, and people just don't understand. It's a Land Rover. It's made to be fished out, and he wants to become just a cool guy with an Alfa Romeo and a babe. Who doesn't love babes?
I love the like I love me and a babe. You like babes?
Yeah, you like babes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't love a
Who
babe?
doesn't love a babe?
And then obviously his
Yeah.
complete loss of head. He lost his head.
It's definitely a
His
Dennis
rage
episode.
comes out.
You're definitely a
It's a
Dennis,
Dennis
episode. This is
episode.
totally a Dennis episode.
A starter car! This car is a finisher car! A transporter of gods! The Golden God! I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
Like
The way his veins and ligaments
Yeah.
pop out of his neck
Yeah.
is.
This was
I
one
mean, hey,
Oh, sorry.
Juilliard.
Yeah.
Juilliard.
Juilliard.
Came back to,
It
you can
works.
tell.
This was one
You can tell.
I considered including, and I was thinking about the episode, and the one thing that like nearly made me was like the main reason for me wanting to include it was specific because a lot of sitcoms would like they'd end the rage on the no bounds and it would like cut away, but it's the way that it gives him some space to like decompress for a second. Like we see him go and kind of like realize what he's done, and then
Yeah.
right.
Yes, Cage of the Beast again.
Yeah,
Cage
like
of
he
the
has to,
Beast.
he's like, but it's like not just like tender. He knows he's like, oh god, that was a bit much. Which
Yeah.
I absolutely I love that. Like that you see in his eyes, he's like, oh god, no.
He looks around. He's like, yeah.
Good.
But as much I love Dennis in this episode, I think my favorite part might have to be Frank, because we just realized for some reason since he's been in the gang how out of touch with reality he's become. Where he thinks that everyone else operates in the same way,
the same
and he finds
dynamic.
he finds three people buying a bar, and he assumes that they're just down for the same schemes and hijinks. And
I'm a
he's like-
financier. I fund schemes
financier.
and plans.
and he's labeling them. He's it's like, you're D, but you're probably prettier.
Yeah. I love the.
And it's like,
by any chance, do you have
we
homosexual
didn't-
tendencies?
yeah. He's like, looking at the black guy. I don't know about you. We didn't have a black. And he's like, classic Frank with his like,
Yeah, and like it's
outdated like.
his like broken memory is really fun as well, where he's like, oh, get a ferret in the basement because Charlie
Yeah.
says it's so great. And let's not forget, of course, the I'm sure you were going to talk about it. Actually, no, I'll let you go for it. I'll bring it up at the end if you haven't mentioned it. I don't want to spoil your thunder.
My favorite part about he's retreading season 1 where he like wasn't there for the underage drinking scheme, and so he's just like these are let people in, and like, what do we do now? I don't know. I wasn't there for that one.
I missed that part
again.
That's
Yeah,
great.
he just ruined some lives and then dips.
That's so great. Once again, a great
and then I
example
think-
again of like our characters reacting with like real world people and just
Yeah.
seeing the like total like clash.
Yeah, but I think one moment that kind of like encapsulates what we were saying before when we were saying about how the casualness of their schemes, where they don't really question each other. And then Frank comes in his classic man cheater outfit, and Dennis goes, "What is that? Is that a man cheater? Yeah, cool, cool."
It's the beginning where like Dennis is going like, we have more costumes than we do like things anymore. We're so goddamn weird. Which first of all, I love that line. And then it's like, what do I say if I want to dress up as a cheater right now? I'd get the spots. He's got spots.
He's got spots.
Also, another follow up from obviously Frank's man. I wasn't Spider-Man. I was Man Spider.
Man Spider.
And now he's Man Cheetah. Man Cheetah's what I would have mentioned. And people have like tattoos of that. Just the way he comes in, like, hey, imagine, want to do something with this?
Yeah, and he's twirling his tail around. Oh, he's so good.
It's so fun.
But it just encapsulates how they cannot escape their lives. They're stuck here. They're too adjusted to the life of weirdness.
The hole can only get dug deeper.
Yeah.
Oh, great episode. God damn, it's so close to making my list. Into the top 2 now. This is the tippity top. The best. This is the best we've got. Right up there, number 2 here. My number 2 is one that probably also doesn't make it that high on our list, but I absolutely love. I have The Gang Gets Trapped. Season 7, Episode 9. Fat Mac season. I didn't mention this earlier when we had a Fat Mac season episode, but I love Fat Mac. Season 7 is one of my favorites.
Fat Mac.
I'm a huge Fat Mac appreciator. And the description for this episode is as follows. Inspired by Indiana Jones, Dennis, Dee, and Frank sneak into a house supposed to contain a rare vase, but become trapped when the owners return early. Written by Rob, Glenn, and apparently someone called Lufk Rack. I don't know how to pronounce their name. It is an absolutely amazing episode. I think it's shot really, really well. It does like the claustrophobia really well. So I think it's got one of the best intros of Ever and Sunny, where we don't show that we don't see them like going into the house. We start with them already in with the owners coming home, and we have Dennis and Dee arguing in the closet. We have like the little details like the light coming through like the blinds on it. I really like. And they start to argue about whatever, just about being stuck there. And then just before we get to the cold open, we get an overhead shot from the ceiling, which I think like really sells the like packedness of it, which I think which is great. We've known it before, but I want to open the discussion of this episode with something that I know we both really like, which is the alluding to Dennis's speech the entire time. So
that speech is even like. Just imagining the speech makes it so much funnier.
That's what I think. So I love comedy when it's like just referenced to but never actually seen. Like and it's so fun when like but as we slowly get more details about it reveals, like Dia's like, you made a whole speech, and it's like, I regret it now, As you stood and when later on when Charlie's like, you stood up in front of that burger restaurant and told everyone. Like tell the speech to everyone.
He's up the table. With the grace of an eagle.
Well, you're close. I actually have the quote written down. I have the grace of a falcon and will be in and out like a demon's whisper.
Yeah, I quote that so much. In and out like a demon's whisper. Use that a lot.
It's so
That's
great.
one of my favourite lines.
And the way it's just like, I regret it now. Like, it was a goddamn fine speech. Like, it absolutely kills me. And I really enjoy like the instant regret. I like how and like how Dennis started to get self-aware of like, our plans are just, we escalate everything to a 10. We need to review our process.
It's like it's almost like an action movie episode as well, where there's
a lot going on.
So much going on.
Yeah, it's a really dynamic episode. There's lots of movement. Like Frank especially brings like a really like chaotic energy, which I think complements like Dennis's like strict like just trying to leave really well. Where like Frank's like running around whipping things with his
and the idea that he's going to whip this child and you just know he did. Oh, again, that's my favorite part of the episode. The fact that they clearly only bought one Indiana Jones costume and they share each the elements. So Frank's got his whip. Max got the hat, and then someone else like they only bought one costume.
Oh my god! Frank has the
and
whip.
Someone else has got the bag as well.
Oh my god! It's so funny. I never saw that.
It's such one of my favorite elements where they're like they clearly went to the store but only bought one.
They only had one.
Yeah,
like that's amazing. I did not notice that. That's great. I love all the scenes with Charlie and Mac in the van. Going to go sell their imported leathers in Texas.
Yeah.
We should go to Arizona and open up that imported leather shop that we've always talked about. Oh my god, the leathers. Yes, the tasseled leathers, the turquoise studs on the leathers, all the leather. Yeah. Okay, do you have the keys on you? Let's get the keys. Let's get out of here.
One thing this episode does really well, and it's something apparently it's a very there's two writers on the show. They're a writing pair called Marta and Roselle. And they're a lot of the ones who bring a lot of like sort of weirder like ideas. So like for example, like do you remember like denim chicken?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
them.
from the art episode. Yeah.
Jean shorts, you mentioned jean shorts. That's them as well. Like, they have lots of like weird fascinations. And I don't know if they were on this episode. They might not have been, but this episode seems like their kind of style. Where it's they also wrote on Rick and Morty eventually, which is like kind of explains their sort of writing style. But like a lot of like weird references like the imported leather shop in Arizona. Sorry, not Texas, it's Arizona. Like, and Dennis being like, "You'll be out in a week's time," is really great. Let me see. I've got a little list down here. Yeah, the Jay Leno tickets. The fact they have loads of Jay Leno tickets, and it's like, maybe she's not got over the whole Conan thing.
She's banging Leno.
She's banging Leno. The fact that they're Asian at the end.
Yeah,
it's like really great. Like it's just like it's one of those things where like it plays into their like prejudice, but also obviously ours.
I really love the heist element of the episode where you've got you've got your extraction team outside in the van, very Mission Impossible-esque when they have guys in the van, talk to people inside, the guy in the man in the van.
And I love
and then they're like plotting to betray them. We go to Arizona.
Go to Arizona, important leather shop. But I love that, like, something about Sunny. This is something that one of the head writers, Meg Randall, said on the podcast, which is like, really good episode of Sunny. Like, the stakes of the episode are all internally generated. Like, there's nothing external, right? There's no force. It's just them, like, building their own
making
thing.
Their own stakes.
Like, Charlie McDennis is a great one about that. You know what I mean? He just makes it more and more ridiculous. And this is one I think does that so well. And it's explained perfectly when they're like, Charlie and Mac are like, well, don't show us articles about stolen vases that enrage us. And Dennis and Dee are like, but Dennis, the vase was not stolen. It's being sold for a charity auction to raise money for a museum. And Dennis points out, like, yeah, in fact, only if we go through with this plan will the vase be stolen. Which is amazing. And they just move on.
Mac's terrible attempt at a Swedish accent.
Hello. Hey.
Hello, I am a Swedish plumber.
Mac.
Hey, Frank, we're out of here.
I'm a Swedish plumber.
Swedish plumber. I'm here to fix your pipes.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I love Dee's like manipulation, like to split Charlie and Mac up. Where it's like, hey, how come Mac's the one who gets to hold the walkie? And just like the instant realization, they're like, I'll get back to you on that one.
I love like one of their I want to say anachronisms. I believe that's a word, the right word for it. Where they have their weird like trend of labeling shops, but everything is like the something store. So Mac's like, oh, I'm gonna go to the hamburger store, and it's like no one says the hamburger store for like the drop for a burger joint. But
yeah, that's great.
They do that for like all sorts of stuff throughout the show.
The chips.
If you want a chip, you could have gotten a bag at the hamburger store.
Amazing. The fact that they just smashed the vase at the end as well. Basically, the end of the episode's perfect, I think. I think it's an episode of Sunny that, like, some episodes of Sunny, like, we've talked about this recently, like, briefly, but, like, I think endings are probably the weakest part of their writing. I think most of them are really good, but there's quite a few episodes, I think, which, like, don't have the strongest ending. This is a perfect ending, where they just go, let's just walk out. Let's just leave. Yeah, they're clearly going for a lot. And like obviously
they don't even see us.
Yeah, I didn't even mention, but like it's quite fun also that the subplot of the episode, which is like which they've just sort of injected themselves into, is a whole like family drama of like cheating and like trying to run away to like Florida with the kids.
There's so much actual real life drama going on.
That's going on outside, and like it's really fun experiencing it through the perspective of our characters just trying to steal a vase. Yeah. Like what a great way to tell a story and another story. And at the end they just decide to walk out and they just smash the vase. And they're just like, bye.
Brilliant.
All round amazing episode. Once again, not one that I think people think of when they think of top Sunny episodes, but I think it's got everything that I love in Sunny. It's quite self-contained. It's got it's got a funny premise. It's got a lot of cool references with the whole heist stuff. Lots of little pairings that keep moving around, and it's absolutely amazing. I love it so much. That's why it's my number 2. Right, Cam. What's your number 2?
My number 2, season 8, episode 9. The gang dines out.
Ah, thank God you put this on your list. I wanted to talk about this so badly. This was one which is like easily one of the best episodes of Sunny. Wanted to have on my list, just got beat out by Recession because I like it for different reasons. But please.
So I think this has got brilliant start. You've got Mac and Dennis sitting down, and we see like kind of the sweet kind of codependent nature of their relationship, where just those two go out for dinner every month at Guigina's. Yeah. Mac's trying to press Dennis so much he's wearing 2 colognes, and naturally Dennis is disgusted by it. Yeah. And the whole time Mac's trying so hard to impress him to make the evening nice.
Quick sidebar: I love what Mac does with his hair in that episode, where like to look like fancy, he like flattens it like that.
puts it down
Like,
so much.
Really?
And that's
Totally
his line where
flattens
he's like, "Can you just say one nice thing about me? Your hair looks small."
it. Like, even that is so painful for him. Like,
Yeah.
your hair looks small.
It looks small. Yeah, Dennis's like rising anger throughout the episode, coupled with like his arrogance towards everyone. I'm to bet all of them are terrible towards the waiting staff.
Yeah, the
That's
waiter.
like classic Toy Sunny hallmark. One of my favorite phrases to use in life has developed from this, which is the term when you're seeing friends and you say, "Oh, they haven't paid tribute to me yet."
I'm sure they'll come over and pay
like,
tribute to us.
Yeah, they'll pay tribute. It's brilliant to see. Like, I think like Dennis and Frank throughout the show kind of see themselves as the bosses or leaders of the group, because Frank, like, he's the financier, and like Dennis genuinely believes that he's like the smartest and the leader of the group, and so they're both the ones who like say, "Why hasn't the other paid tribute?" I very much like the psychological, not the psycho, like the psychological warfare that's expressed through like the subtle social niceties that exist. So like Dennis sends over one house red, there's only one of them, and then Frank then pays the most expensive bottle, and Dennis says like Chilean's wine out of season. As like they're trying to insult each other just through like really minor, like insignificant things.
It's a great ramping up, I think, brilliant. of their beef and the way and at the end obviously they're like literally about to kill each other it's done so great.
It's got one of the best like genuine just like jokes, like purely just for the line itself, not the fact the character says it. It's just the line itself is funny. Is when Dennis is complaining about the matches being beneath his chair, and Max just goes, "Dennis, it's not like your chair's going to catch on fire."
It's the earnestness.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Dennis, your chair's not going to catch fire.
Yeah,
no, we don't want the chair catching fire.
And also, like, obviously, I love having Dee just like kind of floating around.
Yeah, and then she's because as in throughout the rest of it, she's the reject of the group, and even in the dinner, she's the only one not invited.
And the way she's also like, I'm sure they've seen me. They haven't come over and paid tribute to me yet. Like,
yeah. And then you've got Frank and Charlie trying to like kind of describe their weird relationship to the waitress. They're like, "It's our anniversary. Yeah, we're sleeping partners. It's the anniversary of our living together." And obviously, it's always great when Frank's got his toupee on.
Yeah, always a good episode when the toupee's out.
I love Frank's toupee.
Yeah.
Obviously, the iconic moment when Mac and Charlie are staring each other from across the room like meerkats.
Yeah. I think it's one of Rob McElhenney's best performances. I think in this episode, like performances in general in this episode. But his Charlie's is obviously hilarious. We always know. But like Max is just like so like.
It's so like baby like. It's so strange.
It's so perfect.
The way his eyes are shaped are like meant for that pose, because he's got like such like weird eyes.
The way it's edited as well, like with the like across the room, then the cuts into their faces, like zoomed in, like he's looking right at them.
I mean, even people who haven't seen the show probably know that from the memes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then obviously the speeches are brilliant. Where if you look around you, anyone who doesn't have a glass refuse to pay tribute to the troops. I think one of my favorite speeches of all time has got to be Dennis's speech. Well, first off, he goes on about how there are certain people who like to throw nude for rings and coins, and they see Charlie's face, and like, even though it's not obviously directed at him, well, it's subtly directed at him, but no one else knows that. But Charlie's just like, as he knows that he's the one who's been foraging for rings and coins in a nude. But honestly, the Chrissy Orlando speech.
Yeah, the way that Dennis turns like a speech about Mac being good into him being amazing is so great.
At that party one night where I did a big double jackknife twist into the pool. None of you would have done it, by the way. And then I went down with Chris Orlando on the trampoline later that night. I looked her asshole a little bit. It
was great.
It was good. It wasn't great. It was fine. The point is, it was fine.
Oh god. That episode is powerful. And then also let's appreciate the waiter. He is amazing in the episode. Such a good straight man. He of course was originally in the show in the episode Sweet Tea Gets a Heart Attack. What happened was they had him in that episode. They loved him. They were trying to cast this part, and they were like, "Well, we can't really think of it. We want someone like him." And they said, "Fuck it, let's just get him back." So the guy who plays the waiter wasn't sure whether they remembered he was on or not. So when he got cast, he came on. He was like, "Hey guys, just so you know, I was on it before," and they were like, "Yeah, we know. That's why we chose you to have here, which is just a fun little tidbit. There was no planning of them being the same character, but yeah.
Do you think canonically they are the same character?
Well, so they spoke about it on the podcast, and then they wrote a joke that got like censored from the episode because it might be included in in the most recent season, which we can't watch yet because we're in the UK. So I think they might do that, or they're different. I don't know, but I think they're going to do something with it.
Okay, I hope so. That'll be good.
But no, he's amazing in it. The whole like can I take your chair and she like and D being like just to make a scene drags it like
yeah, and still no one notices D. That's the best part.
Yeah, still no one can spot D. And this episode also sets up a lot of like funnier jokes down the line. Like the episode the gang spies like the Chinese or spies like the US.
Spies like US.
Yeah, where like they don't remember him, and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to remember every man I've seen fall into a plate of spaghetti.
Yeah, I do like him a lot.
Great episode.
He's a great supporting character.
Great episode.
Anything else to say on that? Do you think?
I think that's probably for me. Apart from like all the like grabbing of the waitress's breast with like a $10 bill, and Matt
they both do it the same way.
Yeah, Matt going for the for the waitress.
Yeah, he goes to the male waiter.
And the way he does it, but is like looking for Dennis's approval while he does it. Like, he's like, so great, so great.
The way Max always trying to like appease Dennis and make him admire him is brilliant.
It's amazing. Anyway, fantastic choice, Cam. Fantastic choice. Right, here we go. Time for the number one. My favorite episode.
Or do we do the honourable mention?
Let's do honourable mentions first. Let's do honourable mentions first. We'll do honourable mentions quickly. So this was my process. I basically wrote down all my favorite episodes and then just would scratch them out. Nice. So my honorable mentions, ones that I wanted to include but haven't included. I mentioned earlier, the gang gives Frank an intervention. Love that episode, season 5, episode 4. Really like that. The gang, which is like one that has like the thing. I didn't mention this in the Dave and Buster's episode, but the gang's lips going red as they drink wine.
Yes,
that's really great. The way that they use intervention in like different words, where they're like
they
use intervention to be like whoa, and then they use intervention to be like shut up. Love that. The gang buys a boat.
Good. Yeah.
Not especially like special episode, but really amazing and has the implication scene.
That one's on mine.
Yeah. Mac and Dennis white trash.
Great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Amazing stuff. The gang dines out was going to be one of mine. Frank's little beauties as well.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah.
That almost made my top 5.
Yeah, same here. Those were probably the ones that were closest in contention. How about you?
I've got the Dennis system. I love that one.
Totally.
Obviously, Nightman Plymouth.
Yeah.
Max banging the waitress.
Yeah,
that's one I love.
That's a really good one. It's a really good
the sense of paranoia I love in that one. Yeah,
it's a really good like internal dynamic episode. It's like when I think they first like really started to like nail in the codependency. We did it really well. Also, Sweet D has a heart attack.
Yeah,
that was one I was considering. Mostly just because of the Charlie Pepe Sylvia. Bit, which is confirmed wasn't Pennsylvania. Wasn't Pennsylvania.
But I think Pennsylvania is brilliant. I like that.
Yeah, it's really great. And they said that on the podcast. They were like, you know what? Sure, but that was not what they meant to do, because it wasn't meant to be Pepe Sylvia. It was meant to be like Pepe Silva, but Charlie just kept saying Sylvia, which coincidentally made it more like Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think my I actually chose like one specific honorable mention.
Oh yeah,
that would be like the honorable mention. For me, it was the gang gets invincible.
Oh really? Interesting.
Which is a surprisingly odd choice for a couple of reasons. I love the kind of their coach. Like how he's the no nonsense coach, screams at everyone. I love that kind of character for any movie where the coach is just an asshole.
Yeah.
Big fan of it. Keynote speaker Donovan McNabb.
Yeah,
obviously is not Donovan McNabb, and it's so obvious. And like,
it sounds advertising McDonald's.
Yeah, and half of them don't seem to care, and just like clap along with it. Frank and Charlie's friendship developing early, where they're in their little barbecue setting.
Yeah, that's
and they're
great.
dropping their acid.
I love all that stuff.
And Frank spikes Charlie. They've got a great bit where Frank's in the toilet, obviously he's high, and they've got a fisheye lens, and seeing Dan DeVito's face in the fisheye lens, always hilarious. One of my favourite insults for Dee is when they say, wow, she's got her stalk-like legs act like pendulums, and she has feet like wrecking balls. she can kick that ball so far. But probably, one of my favourite Dennis moments is when he is running for the ball and he's got his internal monologue.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how his body's working in perfect symmetry right now. I'm like a gazelle, a beautiful, beautiful gazelle man, gazelle person. It's like, oh, I should have put my shirt off. I wonder if there are any women watching, and then gets taken out by the ball.
That's great.
That's a
That
great moment
episode.
for me
I'm
always
happy.
sticks in my head.
I'm happy that to be mentioned. I'm happy that to mention because I like that one a lot, but it didn't really get near my list. It was one that I straw past and thought about putting on my list, but I was like, I know I like other episodes more, so I didn't write it down. But no, great honorable mention. Great honorable mention. It's time now for the tippity top. Number 1, my favorite episode of It's Always Sunny. Once again, perhaps I'm just trying to be contrarian. I don't know how many people would have this as their number 1. The gang beats Boggs.
Really?
Yes, my favorite episode of It's Always Sunny.
I like it a lot. Didn't have it pegged to your favorite.
So it was originally the gang gets trapped.
Yeah.
Then I swapped them, and I watched them both today, and I swapped them. I had to swiftly swap them. Because the gang beats Boggs, season 10, episode 1. It's just it's so perfect. I love all their drunk acting is amazing. So the description of the scene, before I get too excited, description of the scene. The gang tried to beat a record set by Wade Boggs of 70 beers on a cross-country flight. Written by Rob, Glenn, and someone called Dave. I can't read my writing. Or the last surname, I know.
Dave Rubin.
And it was directed by Todd Bierman, which, irony. Has a lot of really great drunk acting. Charlie, Dee, and Frank especially really, really shine in this episode with basically just how incredibly drunk they are. I love, once again, I mentioned this earlier, like self-contained stakes. The fact that they have developed the stakes themselves, Max taking it really seriously, and the fact that they all have different ideas of what the stakes are. Where, like, Dee thinks it's Boss Hoggs from the, like, Duke of Hazards. Charlie thinks it's to honor the memory of Wade Boggs, who's very much alive.
Alive, yeah.
And then, like, Charlie and Dennis are doing their own Mile High thing. It's great. I love this episode so much. All great drunk acting. Mac is so good as, like, the earnest, like, commissioner.
The adjudicator, yeah.
Try to keep it all, like, reasonable and, like, fair and interesting. All because he lost the chucking contest. That's really great. One line I just quite enjoy is just Dennis asking how many beers can I order at once. I don't know. No one's ever asked me that. Great. So there's no limit on that. there's no rule. Like, it's so great. Like, trying to making clear there's no rule on this.
There's no rules.
Why not make it an even dozen?
I love Dennis's identification of the desert trash through her tattoo, through her gecko tattoo.
I really like the whole like Dennis's Sherlock scene where he's like, takes her ring off to fly because like, so the opposite has taken her ring off because she's recently divorced, or for it just turn out to none of it be right. And it's just like this like totally other like normal explanations. But then it ends up bagging his desert trash.
What was that thing where they were obsessed with the cargo hold or whatever? They're obsessed with going down.
With, like, the secret entrance to the cargo hold. I've seen. I can't remember what movie it is, but like, I've seen Station on a Plane. You know what I mean? Like, that's really good. I like Charlie eating a chicken. I mean, it's just like it's just a stiff rum and coke a stiff cocktail would go well with my chicken. Like, that's great.
Yeah, that Charlie's drunk acting when he's playing baseball.
Yeah, and he's just like stumbling around like. And then I really like the inclusion of the subtitles. But they have chicken in Philly. Yeah, they have chicken in Philly. I think Dee really shines in this episode, like the way she like passes out early and then does a lot of uppers and is like fucking wired for all of it. Yeah. I think her scene with when Charlie and Dee when Charlie starts like hallucinating Wade Boggs, like telling him to keep going, that's really great. And then when it goes to Dee and her hallucination is Boss Hoggs. And it's like, gotta drink them 50 beers to help me get them Duke boys. What do you say, Boss Hoggs? Like that's one of the funniest things the show's ever done.
They've redone that. No, they did redo that. The gang did. The ladies
reboot, which is an episode that most people don't like. I quite like.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere near my favorites, but I quite like that episode because I like Wade Boggs. I like the Wade Boggs episodes. So of course, I'd like the same thing, and I like how it's kind of self-referential again. Lots of little things I love in this episode that kind of like add a lot of character to it. Killing the frat boy.
Yes.
Just because he's trying to drink some of the beers. There's no establishment that they're going to run out of beers. And they have so many in the cargo hold. No one tells them that they're going to run out of beers. But they just decide we need to get rid of him.
Hey, we need to get rid of him. He's competition.
The return of Mantis Toboggan.
Mantis Toboggan,
MD.
Which then culminates in
That's one of the great alter egos in the show.
Yep. Which then culminates in his great speech later when he's like trying to when he's like 20 beers back, and Max like just give up and he's like,
I can't be a pilot. I can't be a doctor. I'm gonna do it I'm gonna do it right in front of your face. I'm gonna chug 15 beers right now. Oh, that's so cold. That's cold.
I love Frank's attempt to get into the Air Sex Society, as he coined it, rather than the Mile High Club. That's great. And I really enjoy when Dennis leaves early, like the way he just gets up and leaves the plane to like at the next stop, just so he doesn't have to stay with the desert trash. And when Mac like writes the number on him, and he's just like, his like deadpan stare while he's writing 21 is incredible.
Dennis does some of the best deadpan stares you ever see. Classically in this episode, making Dennis Reynolds a murderer.
Yeah, great episode.
He's on the security. He's on the security cameras from the interrogation room, and they're watching him. And then his dead-eyed stare into the camera.
Never moved.
Amazing.
Never blinked. I love that. So no, but yeah, this episode I just absolutely love. It's one of those ones where it's like, it's the classic. Is it the best of something, or is it your favorite of something? It's just got everything I absolutely love. I would say it's very often that like if I'm just having a beer in the flat, just chilling out, I will just put on that episode because it's so much fun. It's got everything I love. The ending's great. It's hilarious. And I just absolutely love it. And I think it's a great example of just how good Sunny can be without anything super like gimmicky or special about it. You know what I mean? It's just a great episode.
I agree.
Yeah.
My number one episode. I'm going to go season 5, episode 7. The gang wrestles for the troops.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Another season 5.
Another season 5. Big fan of season 5, as it turns out.
As am I.
So, I think, first off, it introduces 2 of my favourite side characters the first time, but actually contains 3 side characters. So we've got Artemis, who's amazing in it.
Yep.
We've got Ben the Soldier, who's lovely.
Amazing.
And then we've got short and favourite side character, the Maniac.
I was waiting for you to say duh rather than the. Also, R.I.P. R.I.P. to Rodney Piper.
R.I.P. Rodney Piper.
Yeah.
So I think it's got some of my favorite running gags. We've got the jean shorts being introduced.
Yes, the jean shorts. No, the jean shorts weren't introduced in this episode. The jean shorts, him having jean shorts were introduced.
Yeah, it's because yeah.
But that's it. I'm chatting rubbish. Actually, the jean shorts were introduced in this episode. Jean cutoffs were introduced in the makeover home. I take it back.
Yeah, because then they give him the jean shorts. And then in a later episode, I can't remember what season. See, talked about his jean shorts as well. It's like, you can't have the jean shorts, man. You're gonna blow the crotch. You're gonna blow the crotch off them things.
You gotta take them off once in a while.
You gotta take them off every now and then.
I think one of my favorite ever moments is just Frank giving jean shorts to the Ben Soldier. "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal playing in the background.
And the way he just casually
stand there, for like a hilariously long take, just looking at him stand there, and then Ben the Soldier kind of gives him an awkward, like unsure. Salute back.
Oh my god.
You really see how terrible a person D is.
Yep.
Where he comes off and he's in the wheelchair, and immediately she is just has to be out there, and then change her mind as soon as she sees he can walk straight back in there.
Great.
I think one of my favorite aspects of It's Always Sunny, and this one kind of it's a bit too overt, but I like how It's Always Sunny. Like, you can literally be a right-wing person and you'll find the show hilarious because it probably just because you think that the jokes are like other people's expense, whereas it tends to be jokes at your expense. Whereas
rather
if you're
than what it
left wing,
actually is about, which is these characters.
Whereas if you're left wing, you can watch it and like appreciate it for the jokes on them rather than jokes on the main characters. And then obviously in this one it's a bit too overt because you've got the massive conflation of how the foreigners associated the evil characters in wrestling. First off, I love this episode 1 because for some reason recently I've got massively into wrestling again. Yeah. I don't know why. Big into my Stone Cold era. Just been rewatching that. And I love how the gang just conflates wrestling and troops all of America. And at one point they're talking about how back in the 70s was awesome because Hulkamania was doing his thing. Hulk was running rabid. At the same time, they say Hulk was running wild and we were killing Iranians. America was at its peak.
As America, it's such a funny. It's so great. Yeah. I also love fucking what's his name? Cricket is the terrorist villain.
Yes,
with the sand.
The sand is blowing the sand.
It just keeps having sand.
It's so overtly just xenophobic, but in such a obviously over the top way. I think it's the ending really encapsulates it. The ending, how they've got real American playing in the background. I'm a real American. It's got the best ending ever. Danny DeVito
Yeah,
standing in his trash man
it's the way they
outfit.
like then he kills me. He just goes like, "Are they gonna like this?" And then the crowd go fucking wild.
Yeah, Trash Man is amazing.
Trash Man's great.
We've got Cricket. Cricket getting revenge on Dee when she's trying to sing her Kiss from a Rose. He comes and completely wallopes her around the back of the head. Brilliant moment. But I think, like, for me, like, I just love this episode because I love when the gang interacts with their side characters. And I think, one, you've got Artemis has some of her best lines in this one.
Yep.
Where she's talking to Dee about, dating Ben the Soldier when Dee still thinks Ben the Soldier's disabled. And Artemis goes, she's talking about disabled men. She goes, I've dated plenty in my past, I enjoyed the power. And it's like probably one of the worst lines ever said in It's Always Sunny. And it comes from like Artemis, who's like completely unhinged.
That's so bad.
And then she's like, did he ever send you a picture of his penis? Because, with the wound, it could be a mess down there. And Dee's like, no, and she goes, well, don't worry, I'll find out soon enough anyway.
I
love how
insane she is in this episode. She's great.
Yeah, she's probably like one of like the most out there characters.
Yeah, the most like just
and
consistently batshit characters.
She eclipses the gang in terms of like how nuts she is.
Oh my god.
And then obviously Da Maniac. First off, Da Maniac, amazing.
Yeah.
The whole mystery surrounding his character is brilliant. You got a kids maniac.
Yeah. No, it's the way he goes. No, because he said it's not just that they ask him. He says, "You remind me of my kids," and they go, "Oh, you got kids, maniac?" And he goes, "Nah, not anymore."
No, not anymore.
And then they just start having like, "Did he kill his kids?"
And when he's leaving the police car, and he's like, "Mr. Maniac loves you. The Maniac loves you guys. You're my boys." And he's actually like, for some reason, majorly attached them in like a short space of time. And then probably my favorite moment with the Maniac is when, again, like you said, referencing something else. So when they're talking to Mac and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Maniac, he doesn't like you," and Mac's like, "Me?" He's like, "Yeah, he was saying like end this and end that," and Mac, there's some end.
Calling you the N-word.
He's calling you the N-word, and Mac's like, "Me?
Why?
Calling me the N-word?"
I don't know.
And it's just like, again, it's referencing something that you didn't see happen.
Yeah. So great.
It's just hilarious.
I also love fun fact about that this episode at the end. When like the Maniac tries to give them like a speech like how much he loves them, and the car drives away. That was a mistake. The person in the car didn't know what the scene was. So you hear Domaniac, the actor, being like, "Wait, no," like actually like calling out, like to be like, "No, I'm not done."
Yeah.
And they use that one because it's so perfect. God, it's so great. It is such a good one. It's not one because it's one that I think everyone's always loved, but I never really I like it, but I never loved. But I think I've grown to appreciate it more recently.
I mean, the wrestling characters. You've got Danny DeVito eating trash, and they're like, "Frank, no one's gonna want to see you eat trash." He's like,
the trash man.
I'm the best. I'm gonna be the best villain there is. And obviously the Birds of War song is brilliant.
Another thing that Sunny does really well, like the song about being like birds and men, but the song is about clarifying what the song is about.
Yeah.
Which is something that Sunny does so great.
At the moment, we're just singing about being birds. We're bird men.
This entire song's explaining what they're singing about is so great. Oh my god. Great episode. Great. Do you remember the song? Good. I don't know.
It goes stomp, clap,
stomp, clap, stomp, clap, stomp, clap. Fantastic episode. Fantastic.
It is good.
Oh my god! Right. That's been nearly 2 hours.
I know. I was just looking at the time.
Literally, I'm talking about nothing.
Amazing how time can fly by.
Literally burned through, and that's just how passionate we are about the show. So
you're gonna have an editing job on your hands.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone. This has been really, really fun. If you really like this video, please let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, all that crap. And if you really enjoyed this specific subject, I'm sure we'll be able to do another one of these. We our honorable mentions list was like 20. So I'm sure we can do another 5 and get our top 20.
You know what we could do as well? Suggestion. We could do a favourite episode from every season.
We could do favourite episode of every season. We could do favourite episode. That would actually be really good.
Yeah.
Do that one. That would be really great. Or least, honestly. which would be less fun, but it gets
least
pretty intense.
bigger.
So, yeah, if any other Sunny fans that you want to explain on that, please do. If there's any other shows you'd like us to talk about in depth in this format, I ripped it off of Red Letter Media. I love it. It's a great format. Please let us know. I want to do a Star Trek one, but unfortunately no one else watches Star Trek. So
Yeah, your fans will probably see us on the It's Always Sunny podcast soon, I imagine.
yeah, I
After
imagine
they
so.
see this.
Yeah, they'll break down, what I'm sure they'll all be like, they have terrible taste. Bugs is barely an average episode at best.
Yeah.
No. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been great fun. And, yeah.